unbeknownst to us, it was like a Channel 5 versus Channel 3 situation, and we were the only two people there who weren't like local Baltimore media. So when we were introduced over the loudspeaker at halftime, nobody clapped at all. So there was trauma there, is what I'm saying.
Hello and welcome back to MASL Mondays, your Monday show for recapping the week that was in MASL. I'm your host, Adam Snavely, joined by my co-host and general lackey, Pablo Morer. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Now Whatever. I've established a relationship.
Our dynamic just changed entirely. It's great.
It absolutely did, and here we are. Before we really get going with this, we do want to say that our thoughts and prayers go out to all of our Liga MX friends. Obviously, some really, really tragic and awful scenes in Querétaro this weekend. I know Pablo is actually going to be catching a flight here in about an hour or two after recording to cover some of that for The Athletic. And obviously, that's important work, and I think The Athletic does a lot of that. We're a little bit biased. Pablo obviously works for The Athletic. I have appeared many times in The Athletic, so yes, but obviously that's a pretty tragic situation in Mexico right now.
Yeah, just unspeakable, the sort of scenes. If I can save anybody the trauma of even watching the videos of what happened there, trust me, it's not worth it. Just absolutely subhuman stuff. So hopefully some people can learn from this and grow, and hopefully this is the last we see of anything like that, in the near future.
Absolutely. Not much more to say about it outside of just, again, thoughts with all the victims there, and hopefully that there is some growth that comes from it. But Pablo, we do have a full slate today and had some interesting games. And I want to kick it off once again with San Diego, this time with a different opponent in Chihuahua. Both of these teams coming in on a bit of a hot streak. Obviously, San Diego, best team in the league, only dropped one result, and that was in overtime. Winners of 12 straight. Chihuahua themselves, winners of 7 straight. And it looked for a while like this was going to be the really, really close match that it was billed to be. And then around the fourth quarter, it just all falls apart for Chihuahua. A physical game, a really chippy game, some nice goals. But I think that you saw in the fourth quarter, specifically, obviously, you have Roberto Escalante being shown the door, a red card for dissent. Chihuahua just kind of lost their heads a little bit, it seemed, in this game. I don't know what you thought about that, Pablo, but it did seem like, as San Diego started to pull away, the fouls started coming a little bit thick and fast there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've seen it, with other sort of quality opponents against San Diego this year. I mean, they can sort of weather the storm for a quarter or two and hang in there, but eventually they're just sort of overwhelmed by San Diego's quality. And yeah, there was a ton of bad blood. I mean, obviously there was, you had a handbag incident that seemed to last for like 15 minutes essentially, and resulted in a 4v4. Chihuahua entirely lost the plot, and it was pretty much all downhill from there.
And it was unfortunate too, because going into the fourth quarter, that is, they were only a goal down, I believe. I think it was still 3-2 or 4-3. It was a very, very close match. There was some really, really nice soccer being played, and then as San Diego just starts to pull away, you just see them start to lose their heads a little bit. And I also think you see San Diego start to play into that a little bit. They know that their opponents are starting to lose it a little bit, and you see them just not looking for fouls, not looking to necessarily cause trouble, but I think looking for any opportunity where somebody might step across them, looking for those moments where you can just take advantage of what the other team is giving you. And I don't even mean that in a way that denigrates San Diego. I think that's something that good teams do, and that good teams are good at. They know how to play the mental side of the game.
Let's be honest here. Frequently I watch the U.S. national team, MLS teams, and you sort of wish that they had more of like a mastery of the dark arts in that type of way, knew how to manipulate opponents better, play into their weaknesses. The dark arts are like alive and well in the Major Arena Soccer League, and San Diego certainly manipulated Chihuahua and sort of got the best of them. It was fun to watch. Not gonna lie.
It was a really, really fun game to watch. I especially enjoyed the Boris Pardo show right at the end there, where he really got some of those saves in as Chihuahua pushed for anything they could find in the game. Now you have Chihuahua on the kind of the back end of their road trip here with a really important game suddenly. Ontario is a team that have kind of stayed consistent where they are in the standings a lot of the time. Not quite as good as San Diego, but kind of have been the second place team in the West for a bit. But Chihuahua is suddenly very close to them, and they visit them on Tuesday, a game which I will be attending. It'll be my first in-person MASL game. And Pablo, I see you wearing your Baltimore Blast throwback jersey currently. And I know for a fact that you were in attendance very recently with some other illustrious media guests. Any tips, any recommendations for watching an MASL game?
Just keep your heart open to love, I think is my advice here. I mean, keep your mind open, your heart open. If you're going to Baltimore Blast game, be prepared to hear the song Celebrate by Kool and the Gang over and over again every single time they score, which has been going on for years. We went out there on Saturday, me and Charlie Boehm, who writes for MLS, and Sebi Salazar, who obviously is an ESPN commentator, has a great show, Fútbol Americas, and had a few beers, took in some indoor soccer. Sebi decided to mercilessly heckle McCauley, the Harrisburg goalie. But it was a good time. Was a good, clean, appropriate time was had by all. But yeah, I don't know. I'm jealous. I found myself at least wanting to go to an Ontario game when Jermaine Jones was. We'll just call him a fixture. I don't know with the Ontario Fury. Exactly
is the word.
Yeah.
Man, that is also some great insight into. I think Sebi Salazar, obviously a person that is not well known for his little. I wouldn't call it a dust up, but the little run in with Bob Bradley after an LAFC game.
Yeah, most recently Merritt Paulson, I guess. Yeah, he's making friends fast. Add McCauley to the list.
Also in the league this weekend, we had an interesting series between the Kansas City Comets and the Dallas Sidekicks. Usually you see KC take these games a little handily in their division, but Dallas gave them an interesting set of games, I will say. Obviously, the games were split. You had both teams taking their respective home matches in the two-game series. And neither game was particularly close, which I also thought was pretty interesting. Obviously, you have the first game, Kansas City taking that 13-6 on the back of a really star performance with from Tetsane, Rookie of the Year candidate, obviously coming through with the goals, the assists. And honestly, that entire first quarter from Kansas City and Dallas felt like a game unto itself. You had 8 goals alone just in the first quarter, in addition to a forced goalkeeper change, kind of a comeback performance from KC in the first quarter. It seemed like it had it all, just a full game loaded into that first little bit of time. But obviously a very fun, very high-scoring, high-energy game on that first one. You also had a little bit of some interesting and notable guests and notable occurrences at that opening game as well. Vlatko Andonovski, United States women's national team coach, in attendance, a former indoor player himself, and a former KC Comets player, which I imagine is probably why he was particularly at the KC Comets game. That would all make sense. That's good. And you also had a media game, which Pablo and I have both participated in media games in the past. Pablo, how did your last media game go?
I played in a lot of MLS media games. I did, though, also play in a Baltimore Blast media game, which I literally emailed them and told them to include me in. Again, Charlie was also part of this. It involved, unbeknownst to us, it was like a Channel 5 versus Channel 3 situation, and we were the only 2 people there who weren't like local Baltimore media. So when we were introduced over the loudspeaker at halftime, nobody clapped at all. So there was trauma there, is what I'm saying.
I as well have an unfortunate media soccer game story from MLS Cup, I believe 2018. We played a media pickup game at some ungodly hour. It was like 8 in the morning or something like that. Um, and I distinctly remember because staying I was staying in the same hotel room as Paul Tenorio, which was your old room because you had to leave for some emergency at this
I remember that.
particular juncture. And I just remember getting up after going to bed at like 2 or 3 in the morning. And after several adult beverages had been consumed by many people. And I woke up at 7:30 or 7:45 or something. And I asked Paul if he was going to play, and he said, absolutely not, which was the correct decision because I then went and played soccer against like Bobby Warshaw and a bunch of actually in shape MLS media type people. And George Qureshi was there being very, very good at soccer. And Felipe Cardenas is obviously in shape. And I threw up. I lasted about 3 or 4 small, like 5-a-side games. And then I went to the side and I threw up and I called it. I said, that's enough soccer for me today. So media games.
Adam, I'm sure other people threw up when they saw your first touch.
They probably did. Probably Bobby Warshaw had several things to say about it.
Yeah. Anyways.
But, that is why I'm media and not playing the game. And I feel fine about that, all told. So, yeah, you had a big blowout win for the KC Comets in that opening game. Dallas did bounce back to take the second game 8-3, which is a pretty strong response to getting flattened in Kansas City. Obviously, for Dallas, you had Juan Gamboa back in net at home. He didn't make the trip to KC, but you have to feel that gives them a little bit of a boost. Juan Gamboa, I think, for my money, one of the best keepers in the league, up there in discussions with people like Boris Pardo. And you had a pretty good game from Luis Morales as well. So Dallas takes that win, helping kind of solidify their position in about the middle of the pack, per se. They seem pretty decent money to make the playoffs at this point. But interesting back and forth between the two teams in the Midwest this week. And I'm kind of interested to see what Dallas has. If they can produce this type of result against KC at home, which I don't think I've seen them at this point really pull out something like that, a big upset win, especially on the back of that loss to KC. I'm interested in seeing what they could possibly do in playoffs. So we'll see. We'll see what happens when the time comes.
Adam, did you catch the shout out to MASL Monday?
Oh, the broadcast. The broadcast shout out to MASL Monday. Yes. I think we have that.
Discuss this very important thing.
I think we have that clip. We're going to roll the clip and then we will discuss.
Monday, it's called MASL Monday. Break down the weekend with host Pablo Maurer of The Athletic and Adam Snavely. Each week, first episode was great, and I know for a fact that Pablo Maurer grew up as an LA Lasers fan, so I'm just going to goad him to start throwing in historical LA Lasers references. So there you go.
Keep it going.
All right, Pablo, can you confirm or deny Eric Bergen's report that you are a diehard LA Lasers fan?
Look, man, I'm a fan of beautiful design, and I'm definitely a Clay Kuman fan. And those two things merge with the LA Lasers. Now, I can't say I've ever seen an LA Lasers game. I can say that I probably did own like a sort of like satin softball jacket that was emblazoned with the LA Lasers logo that was way too small for me to even wear. I actually do still own that. But you know what? I'll take it. It's fine. If they want to claim me, if that defunct franchise wants to claim me as their biggest supporter, I'm into it. Yeah. I love obscurity, so let's do it.
I feel like because you've already name dropped Clay Koyman, I can only picture an LA Lasers jacket that he wears now as a leather biker jacket with just a kind of a homemade sewn in patch on the back for the LA Lasers.
I mean, everybody do yourselves a favor, or maybe Phil, you can throw this up on the screen at some point. Look at Clay Kuman's 1994 World Cup like photo, like his team photo, and like his hair is the most glorious thing you've ever seen in your entire life. So shout out to Clay.
Shout out to Clay, a World Cup legend in a way, and an indoor soccer legend. I think in many other ways different than being a World Cup legend. But yeah, thank you for the shout out. Thank you for the shout out on the KC Dallas broadcast. And interesting set of games. Very, very looking forward to seeing both those teams in the postseason. Other interesting scores and games from the MASL weekend that was, you had two teams that are both in the conversation for that very last playoff spot with the regular season games winding down. Milwaukee and the St. Louis Ambush, both of them dropping pretty close results to the Florida Tropics. Florida obviously making a bit of a road trip, going around, pulling out the wins in two pretty close scenarios, particularly against Milwaukee. But St. Louis as well. There was a point with only a few minutes left in the fourth quarter where St. Louis only a goal down before Florida finally pulls away. And St. Louis kind of doing the St. Louis Ambush thing where you know that they're going to score a lot of goals and you know that they're also going to ship a lot of goals to the other team. So always a fun time watching the St. Louis Ambush. Maybe not if you are a St. Louis Ambush fan, but a neutral's delight, I think, is the term for that. Any other big moments of the week, Pablo?
No, I mean, mine are, as always, mostly off the field things like the Blast Juan Pereira celebrating a goal by potentially stealing the photographer's camera, I guess, sprinting to midfield and firing off several dozen shots. So I don't know if he has, I don't think the Maryland Institute of, Design or something like that has a soccer team, but maybe in for a transfer / art exhibition at halftime. Lucas Roque's Hattie, Nelson Santana's masterwork of a haircut, which he's had since his Syracuse days. These are mostly focused on my own personal MASL experience this weekend, obviously, but can't help but be tainted by that. How about you, Adam?
I think the Juan Pereira celebration was actually stolen by Diego Fagundes in MLS this weekend as well. I saw that happen in the Austin FC game, and I said, interesting. Interesting that happens mere days after I saw it in the MASL.
Chronologically, I think you have to credit Juan for that one.
That's just journalistic integrity.
Exactly.
It's what we're talking about there. I think my moment of the weekend has to be the first quarter of that Kansas City Comets and Dallas Sidekicks game. I know I already talked about it, but it was just unbelievable how it seemed like KC had a firm handle on the game, and then Dallas just comes and scores 2 goals out of nowhere. KC comes back, Dallas takes the lead again, then KC goes up again, and then they have to make a keeper substitution. You have Paulo Neto coming back into the game for Lou Meisner, who had, I think on the broadcast said, was feeling some injury prior to the game and takes a knock, has to come out. It really felt like a full game arc in that first several, like 10 to 15 minutes was just kind of an unbelievable, I think, representation of what the league and what it can be all about.
Snape's like, we should talk about goals, obviously memorable goals for the weekend. I think 2 stand out for me. I really gotta encourage everybody to watch Leo Gibson's 2/3 of the field cross to Lucas Souza, who absolutely obliterated it on the full volley into the upper 90. World-class stuff that probably belongs at the top of some ESPN Sports Center countdown. Maybe we can make that happen. Who knows? And then Snape's obviously the Serta goal is also a thing of beauty.
Yeah, we had some really, really pretty Route 1 goals in MASL this weekend, which I thought was interesting and fun. Yeah, that Craig Childs layoff to Cesar Serta, just on the first time, just crushing it. And also in that San Diego game, I think to kind of ice the game, it was just a lovely little bit of skill from Charlie Gonzalez, just taking the ball, very, very calmly as the keeper's out. The keeper knows he's out. He knows the goal is open. He's coming and trying, I think, even just to make a foul, just to stop him. And you just have the little roll of the foot, calm, collected, finishing from half field. some really, really nice moves there. Some really, really good stuff. And again, just a super entertaining weekend that was in the MASL. So I would say one of those two goals would probably be my goals of the week personally. But we also have MASL prime time for goals of the week and the moments of the week. So if you're looking for more content to consume from the MASL, you can always check out that.
You could also check out noted MASL aggregator Diego Fagundez's performances in MLS games if you want to see more MASL highlights. I'm not going to let this go. I'm sorry.
It was stolen. It was plagiarized, and it wasn't cited. It wasn't cited correctly. That is our final take on the Diego Fagundez situation.
Let's not get carried away. I'll have other takes on other shows. It's fine.
We're watching you. We will have hotter takes at some point. Also, Diego, if you want to come on the show and talk about indoor soccer, please be our guest. Oh, man. Thank you so much once again for watching the show. We have come to the end of our time here on MASL Monday. But as always, we had a really, really fun time, and we hope that you are enjoying this. Please subscribe to it wherever you get your podcasts. Or if you are watching on YouTube or anywhere else, please give us a like, subscribe to the league. As always, it helps everyone out a bunch. But until next week, my name is Adam Snavely.
I guess I say now, my name is Pablo Maurer.
Yes, that's the professional in you, Pablo, really coming out, picking up on what I'm laying down. Pablo was smelling what I was stepping in.
The chemistry is incredible.
We're just absolutely crushing it today. Thank you. See you later.